What is going on, everybody? We are back again for the third installment now of the Dragon Ball Legends podcast. Audio check. Everyone in chat, make sure that everyone's audio levels on our end is good. If you hear any problems, let us know in chat. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to our host, Pomzor, who'll be guiding us through this episode. Go ahead and take the floor, Pom.
Hey everybody, thanks Nas. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of our Legends podcast. Today is episode 4, Who Let the Dogs Out? And one thing before we start, as always, make sure you check the description because we now also have a Facebook page. Additionally to our Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube channel. So if you haven't done so, make sure that you follow us over on Twitch, on Twitter, and subscribe to the channel here if you enjoy our content. And join the public Discord that is also in the description down below to hang out with us, to ask questions, hang out with the community, and all that stuff. With that said, today's guests on the podcast are Bradical.
What up? How's it going?
We have the homie Goresh.
What's going on, guys?
We have our stream video host Nas Darachi.
How's it going, everybody? Hopefully y'all are having a great weekend.
We have our Professor Sensei.
Hello.
And we have Ryuden.
Welcome to the show.
And we have a new addition today. You can already see it on the overlay. He is the first time on this show, so I would like to ask you to just introduce yourself a little bit. Hello, Dragon Ball Joe. How are you doing?
Hey guys, how you doing? Yep, I'm Dragon Ball Joe. As you can tell from my accent, I'm based in the UK. Been playing Dragon Ball games all my life, and I'm streaming on Twitch at the moment. So I'm a brand new streamer, and I'm glad I'm part of the podcast now.
Welcome.
Yeah, great to have you.
Glad to have you here. So our agenda today, the obvious thing, you see the name of the podcast. We have the Legends All-Stars Banner 2, the purchasable missions, as well as the characters themselves. We want to talk a little bit about the Rival Universe, TOP Universe 9 tags, and where they're going. Extreme Nappa has a Zenkai. We got the Cooler event back. We're talking about the Frieza Platinum Equip, as well as the V-Jump leaks. And then we're going to head it over to questions. And if you have questions that you want us to discuss during the podcast, make sure that you answer them to our questions thread on Twitter, which is posted every Friday on the 59 Gaming account. So make sure that you follow us over here. And with that, the first topic today is the new difficulties of the Try to Surpass Me event. We now got Scream and Despair. And did anybody really scream and despair over them? Nas, did you?
They were actually very, very easy, provided, of course, you had the boost units. This is kind of like a normal thing for Legends now, where they pick and choose certain units that are just going to be ridiculously overpowered compared to all the other units in your box. And if you're blessed enough to have them, they're not always new units. It's usually like a 30, I would say 30, 70, 60, 40 spread between, having brand new units and then some of the older ones. If you have a selection of those that can color counter, it's really not that challenging. Even the brand new difficulty, it pales in comparison to stuff like the Final Form Full Power Frieza event from back in the day, or even the Cooler Stage 51. Those were seemingly much more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that I beat both of the stages also using LOE, which are not boosted anywhere. So I also didn't think it was that hard. And the video you see, I mean, managed to beat it in 46 counts.
Yeah,
Easy
with
crystals,
this,
I guess.
With this Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, it just makes it easy as cake. And I would assume, again, even if you don't have him, but you have some other relatively strong hybrids, and then for the other banner, or to the other stages, it's all future buffed units. So if you can put anything together that can form some type of color counter, or a strategy like this, like y'all are seeing in the audience on screen, you should be able to cheese your way through it without too many problems at all.
Which, I mean, we can't really complain about that, but it is kind of like, man, I want it to be hard, but I still have PTSD from the Frieza event, so
yeah,
I don't know, man.
They need to find a way to make the PvE in this, they need to find a way to make it more difficult at the same time as not making the AI just perfectly counter everything that you do.
I think the problem we're always going to see is that nobody's going to have the same box. Or maybe some people have identical boxes, but you know what I mean. You compare Goresh's box to a kid that started 3 weeks ago, and it's kind of like, all right. So I think that's their biggest problem, and that's something we always have to take into account when we say we wish it was harder. It can't be too hard that pushes people away from the game, because if I just started playing Like even the Frieza event, like at that point I had summoned a lot already, and I got steamrolled like 200 times. So I don't know, man.
Well, I brought it up
Yeah,
before.
this is
They can
definitely
make
an
the
event
content
for
harder.
veteran players.
Yeah, they can make the content harder if they give you the units to use, and maybe 2 out of the 3 of your units are predetermined, and then you've got to throw in the last one to make the team.
That would be cool. I actually agree with that. That would actually be dope. They give you 2 units that, like how we had that VB in that co-op once. That would be really cool. Right before you drop, they just gave you a unit that could at least help you do a little bit better, or you could try the unit out or whatever. That would be cool.
Yeah, I guess it would help newer players, wouldn't it, in the event? It's more like for veterans, I guess, this event.
Yeah, at
But
least
for
the final
veterans,
stages.
it's not that hard.
Yeah.
I
mean,
mean,
the
rather
good
than
thing-
somebody who just started their account a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, those
Yeah,
people are not, I don't think. They kind of have this system where they put out content that's accessible to everyone, the free-to-play players and the newbies, but then they also have stuff like the Challenge Rush and Stage 51, where there's no way that someone that's subbed like 2 or 3 months in this game is going to be able to put up like numbers that can take down those bosses. I mean, unless they've just spent a crap ton of money on the game. So yeah, any reasonable player, like some of these events, or at least the final sets of stages, are not really intended for them to complete. I feel like that kind of not only like wets your whistle, because even those new players, they'll get as far as they can, which will probably be through like the first 3 to 4 sets of stages, and then that'll kind of tempt them to maybe summon some more or to play more, because like they'll be like, well, I can't beat this yet. I feel like that's maybe one of their psychological angles on trying to convince people to contribute more time to developing your account, maybe, or money, or both. So there's that too, maybe. I don't think it's necessarily the best strategy, but it definitely seems to be, teasing people with stuff that's unattainable at your current level seems to be one of their marketing tactics for this game.
Yeah, fair enough. But at least at least the color counter units of the specific tag, like all the green and I think purple and whatever future units were buffed. So if you have the right colors, you could probably even just use green Mai and try your luck with that. Probably not as easy, obviously, as if you have, I don't know, like the Zamasu and the LF Vegeta, but still it might be doable. All right, I think that was a rather short topic, just to catch you up on that. And with that, let's move over to the next one would be the Legends All-Star banner. And yeah, I think Goresh has summoned quite a bit on it. What was your experience with that?
Yeah, so the banner itself is actually quite good, and I assume the reason why they made it as good as they did is because these units aren't necessarily the most hype of all time. The Tree of Danger, not really like headliner units, so to speak, for this game. But me personally, since we have the step up active right now, I would probably recommend that people summon on the step up over this banner, even though this banner probably has a better lineup of characters. The step up just has way better deals. I mean, you have the EX guaranteed step, which is pretty nice. You have the double rates on step 5. You have the free multi, the discounted multi. They're just way more value for you on the step up. But this banner is actually pretty good. So if you're somebody who wants to invest ahead of time in like either the Rival Universe tag or the Universe Survival Saga tag, I don't know why they switched those up. They split those up, but if you're somebody who wants to invest in that like setup specifically, then this obviously is the better banner for you. If you're like somebody who's really looking forward to UI Goku or Jiren or any of those characters from the Tournament of Power, these guys have really premium Z abilities for that. So that's the main reason why I went so hard on this one, is because I wanted to be ready just for when they release those like big dogs for this tag, no pun intended,
Right.
to be ready for those guys.
Did you actually end up getting those purchasable missions, or did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are always worth it. If you pull the new units, like, you should definitely get those missions.
People in chat are saying, hold on, they're saying that, Gresh, your sound might be a little too low. I don't know.
I didn't change anything.
Maybe turn your input up possibly a little bit.
Yeah, a little quiet, but not much.
Yeah, I just adjusted some volume settings too, so that might have fixed it as well. So don't crank it up too high.
Yeah,
that
just-
was
Okay, so
everything
we
I
were
had to say
talking.
about that.
Okay. All right. So who else summoned on the banner, and what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's a good banner. Like I do like. Sorry, Ray, I won't talk very long about it.
No, please go ahead.
My experience was not the best, not getting Bergamo, but I mean, for what it is, it's a solid banner. I don't think it's like God tier because if you don't like the wolves, or I mean, I would say Universal Survivor Saga is going to become essential once we start getting more units because there's a lot of very strong characters that are listed in that. Do you guys think that would be for like Jiren and them, right? That wouldn't be like rival universes. You guys don't think they'll go that route? Like, if Universal Survivor Saga would have to be them as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be overlap. The only real difference that I see with Rival Universe and Universe Survival Saga is that Universe Survival Saga is going to include Universe 7 fighters.
Yeah, as opposed to just everybody who's not Universe 7.
Yeah, and then also Rival Universe is going to include Universe 6 fighters from the Universe 6 for 7 tournament.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, if you, like Resh said, if you want to kind of get ready for Jiren and stuff, it's a really good deal on that one. But we also get that Goku Black is still out, and if you didn't happen to get him, maybe don't chase down the wolves right now. They'll kind of just pop up as time goes. Even if you just get Bergamo, that's a good starter. You just get like Lavender. I do say multi-Z power him up because that's a really good buff to what's going to be a very powerful tag. Obviously, Goku and Vegeta, what you should be chasing if you use God Key, Future, Vegeta family, or Sun family. They're very good as well, but I mean, it's a good banner, but I also get if you're like, I'm going to skip this. I don't care about the wolves. Totally understandable.
So I would say 6 out of the units on this banner are above average or exceptional. Like you said, the Vegeta, the Goku, all 3 wolves, and Kefla. The only ones that are somewhat questionable now are the Hit and the Purple Goku Black. And Purple Goku Black being the most questionable out of this banner. And then you have the Demon King Piccolo and the old Sparking Purple Vegeta for their Zenkai ability. I would say that, I mean, I summoned 2K crystals and I got the red Goku, which for me was a win. I also got 1 copy of Basil, but due to the way their team works, it's really useless if you only have 1 of them. Like, that's like, I left him at level 1. There's literally nothing you can do if you only have 1 of them. So, I mean, just getting the Goku, I was happy enough. But yeah, it's definitely a team where you're going to have to go in at least a little bit on this banner unless you get extremely lucky, because you kind of need all 3 of them for it to function properly, which definitely changes certain attitudes when considering whether to go in on this banner, because that's 3 separate 1% rates that you have to hit for the team to be fully fleshed out.
And EX Gogeta is back, which I would not chase EX Gogeta. Goresh can tell you not to do that too. So
yeah,
at least they buff the colors, don't they, on the Z ability? So you pull them twice, I guess.
Yeah, the dogs do. Just for reference, by the way, I have a 14-star Bergamo, a 14-star Lavender, and a 12-star Basil, and I have a 1-star Kakunsa. So
you pulled her how many times? Once?
Once.
That's once, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. I think Ryuden, you wanted to say something earlier, right?
No, I think you guys pretty much covered it. Yeah, like you said, they're the first bit of wave for the tag. So if you're someone that is trying to prepare for the future as they release more units, then for sure they are very good Z abilities. If you're trying to run them, then you might want to be cautious, just because you probably want all 3 to really make the whole thing work, unless you want to be courageous and use like EX Brienne as well. I'm not really sure. So you can try and make that work, but yeah, you will need all 3.
Yeah, and I mean, my 2 cents on the whole, they're going to buff the Tournament of Power saga is that there will be plenty of characters out there that will buff Tournament of Power. So I think you can also, if you're not, if you're free to play or you're just like a small spender, just wait and see where they're going with this, and the wolves are going to come back eventually anyways. It's pretty much what the UST used to be is now, I think, Legends All-Stars. So you can also just wait and see, and they will come back anyways. Yeah, and with that, let's move on to the actual units. I think it makes sense to discuss all 3 of them together. As Ryuden just said, you kind of need them all 3 together, and then we can also just talk about the individual character traits, the kits. So yeah, let's start with that. And as I said, Ryuden, take it away.
Yeah, so like we said before, you're probably gonna want all 3. What's funny though is the leader of the pack actually feels like the worst one, Bergamo in particular. I think there's a couple reasons why. You need some build up too. a kit that revolves around the idea. So like maybe Rage Trunks is a bit of an exception, but having to take a couple of beatdowns in order to be fully powered is probably not the best thing in the world when everyone gets a Rising Rush in like a single combo. So it's kind of questionable there. If I had to place how good they are, though, I'd probably put Basil first. I think his main ability and his green card are just way too good. He gets his Vanish back with his blue card. Main ability, you can pop really early. You also get your Vanish back. His green card has a stackable damage inflicted buff. He's awesome. And his green card is awesome. I think everyone can agree that just hearing the howl is funny and cool. And then probably next I'd put Lavender. Just because, like, with Basil, I think their kits just work better than what Bergamo's does. I guess Bergamo's just redeeming trait is his green card, kind of like Buhan, where if you're really close, you're able to knock him back and get priority, which is always great, and you get a huge buff from that. But I don't know. That's how I would place them. Do you guys feel the same way? Would you rate them the same way?
Yeah, I'd have Basil at number 1. It's not even close.
Yeah,
He has like a billion ways to get his Vanish back. He has a billion damage. His green card's the best green card in the game just because he's taking drugs. He's really good.
And he has card draw as well.
Yeah, permanently, right?
He gets, what is it, 50 key when he swaps in or swaps out?
That's
one of
Lavender.
That's ridiculous. I think
he
that's the
swaps
highest
in.
amount ever of any unit when you show up. 50?
Yeah, that is his best trade, I think, for Lavender.
That's crazy. And with his green card reducing costs too, it's just the dude just melts. He's fantastic. It's just a shame the leader had to be the worst one of them all. I found that really funny. It's like, oh, you're the leader of the pack. You're not as good as everybody else.
Yeah, it's just that I think he's not really adequate for this meta right now because this meta is super fast. And if you get caught in one combo, you're just going to get hit for like 20 counts in a row. And he's getting built up in those 20 counts, but he's also going to die, right? Yeah. So the fact that he needs to wait that long to get buffed up, I feel like it's just too slow for this meta. But if the meta slows down to a more slow meta where we used to have that, like with the regen meta, and you're able to build up his stuff, you're able to counter, you're able to heal that damage off, like he's going to be really good. But right now, this is not the meta for him.
I can't get over just Basil's strike animation. It just gives me Vegito vibes. Super Vegito, when he's just always using his Super Vegito, when he's just using his legs to decimate against Buhan. He just has his arms folded, just kicking him with like these giant shoes. I just find it hilarious. I like the units animations as well. They're awesome. It's just funny to see. It's just he just feels like such a memeable character. Just the howl, the giant shoes, the folded arms, kicking strike animations. He's goofy but really fun. Out of the 3, he's my favorite for sure as well.
And no pants.
I feel like they'll be a lot better once they have at least 3 more bench units or 3 other practical options where you could bring to battle and just kind of swap around. Because the team it's kind of in the state where we've seen a lot of teams before the progression of this game where things are starting to trickle out for it, but it's just nowhere near complete yet. And in 6 to 8 months from now, we'll be like, God, do you remember that time when this team was like nothing? But now look at it. It's got MUI Goku and Jiren and these 3 wolves and, everybody else, like Limit Breaker, Vegeta, and it's going to be nuts.
Yeah, and I think that's another reason why you have to consider that's something that you have to think about when you're summoning on this banner is, right, even if you pull all 3 of the new units, like you're not really going to have a bench to use them with. Because in my experience, I think the best bench you could use is probably just a bunch of like those EX color buffers. Mm-hmm. And most people aren't going to have those guys at like decent star levels because they're EX units and they're hard to pull. So again, even if you pull all 3 of these dogs, like it's going to be tough to have a decent bench for them because they just don't fit. They have no tags.
Yeah, I was using like the 3-star Ribrianne, and I also didn't pull Kakunsa in like 27k. So I was also using Android 14, and I think I used the Rage Vegeta, actually, the purple one.
Yeah, I was actually considering him as well.
Can I just say something kind of unrelated to mechanics that I think all 3 of them have incredible in-game models. I like how fresh they feel in PvP right now.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%.
And also the art is fantastic.
Yeah, the art for sure. That's amazing art. It's crazy how the units themselves are obviously not the most exciting for people because it's no Gogeta, it's no Vegito, it's not whatever. But they designed them really darn well. They feel really, I guess is saying really premium the right way to put it. They just feel really clean, just well done. It just feels like solid units. Just like Goku Black, actually. He just feels well polished, awesome unit.
I think they're a lot better than we thought they were gonna be for the Wolves. Like, because we always picture, these kind of units, and I think in our mind it's like they're not gonna get that same treatment. And Legends did go over and beyond it. I think that's really, really dope. It shows a lot that they're giving a crap nowadays about like what they're giving to us, and all of them being on the same banner. I mean, look, that's the one thing I'll always give Legends over Dokkan. Dokkan's got a lot of pluses, but having the fact that you can pull all 3 of the new units on the same banner, like, it's just fantastic. The one thing I did want to touch on, somebody in the chat was saying that one of them needs like endurance type thing or like some kind of cover, and I think they'd be fantastic. It is what it is. I think they're going to be more of a bench for a little while, personally. I think they fit perfectly as a bench. They build an entire team just by themselves. But if one of them had some kind of cover, some kind of endurance, something, they'd really fit in this meta well.
Yeah, they
But they're
don't
still
have
good.
very much utility at all.
I mean, Basil does, but Lavender just poisons, and poison's good, but Chip is only Chip at the end of the day. It's good, but it's not like that great. And then I haven't used Bergamo, but yeah, if they had something like I said, endurance would be ridiculous. Unlike even like Bergamo having endurance, that'd be ridiculous. They'd be crazy. Well, he does have a cover. What's his cover? What is Bergamo's cover? Because somebody said he has it.
It's
Damage
30%
cut.
reduced damage taken, but then he also has 30% reduced damage taken just for existing. So it's basically.
I mean, that's
60%.
pretty good. That's not bad, I have to admit. I didn't know he had a cover. I didn't even look at him. I was too sad for not pulling him. That's not terrible, but it's just not the same kind of cover as like Zamasu and stuff like that. I hate that cover. It's the worst to play against, but it's what makes your team meta viable,
Yeah.
So either way.
Yeah, and also I think that if you're just pulling like a copy each, and you don't have all, like for example, I started pulling and I only got Bergamo and Basil to 3 stars, and then so I played them with Kefla. This team is not good. Like you'll need all 3, and I think you should also get them to 6 stars so that they have decent buffs, because as we said, there's not really much of a bench unless you use color buffers. So maybe not go into deep if you don't have that many crystals.
No, just summon like Goresh and you're good to go. They're usable. That's all you have to do.
Easy. No problem.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of Goresh, have you tried out the Extreme Kakunsa yet?
I have not actually. I've only been doing content on the dog so far. I don't even know if I'm going to use her, just because like I'm not really. I don't know. I feel like she's more of a bench unit, and I feel like the reason why they even brought her out was for the Z ability. If you were lucky enough to pull her, because she does buff Rival Universe, right? And that tag really needs help because there's almost no Rival Universe buffers right now. Granted, it's a new tag, but her and Ribrianne, I feel like, because I actually used Ribrianne recently in a video, I'm really, really, really not impressed with her at all. So I think the reason why she was created is the same as why this Kakunsa was created, in that Rival Universe is going to be what they have. And then I assume because we have a EX Ribrianne and now an EX Kakunsa, probably going to get an EX Rosie soon. So yeah.
That nobody's gonna pull either.
Yeah, I mean the Sparking one still doesn't come back yet, so nice.
It's a good thing that Kuba isn't here, huh? So is it true that Goresh was the only one? Have none of you guys pulled her either?
No,
I have her.
I
1 star.
I haven't gotten her.
She's
One star. I
she's
didn't
not
hear.
very usable at 1 star, but like, I tried. I gave it my best, but it's like it's tough, man. Same thing with Ribrianne, though. I do agree they're bench units, so they're designed to be bench units. They're not bad by any stretch of the imagination. If you got lucky and got them to like 6 stars, you could definitely use them. But aside from that, I wouldn't really touch them too much.
I mean, just keep in mind that it's very well possible that in the future they do another one of those LBR EX only tournament style modes. So at that point, if you have like the Rosie, the Rebrand, the Kakunsa, of course Rosie EX not in the game yet, but like Goresh had mentioned, there's no way they're not going to bring her. So that could potentially be a very powerful option when that tournament does roll around, or that game mode, whatever you want to call it.
Fair enough. So I guess Kakunsa for now, we're just gonna call her MIA. We don't really know. And to kind of wrap this whole topic up is one thing that we can discuss is where do you think all these tags are going? So now we have Rival Universe, we have Tournament of Power, and we have Universe 9. Prof, what do you think they're going to do with that?
I don't know how much more to add on it. I think they're definitely going to explore the whole Tournament of Power arc, and as Goresh has already mentioned, he summoned 4 of these wolves just because they're going to be so relevant going forward to the survival arc. But I feel like the survival arc tag is going to probably be the most broad, and then you're going to get kind of like how we have the powerful opponent tag. Then you're going to have the universe tags being a more refined tag to get extra buffs if you stack them on top of each other. But my hope was that they would have just picked one tag, either rival universe. I kind of like that they are doing the Tournament of Power tag, because then you can have your MUI Goku and all that being on the same team. But I don't know. The broader they go, the better for me.
It seems like, just to cut in one last time on this topic, it seems like this is one small area where they're diverging from Dokkan. And we've seen this before with the fusion tag as well, specifically. Like, when we didn't have too many fusion characters in the game and they were just starting to come out, like Red Gogeta and the first Vegetas we started to get, we didn't know at the time if they were going to split the Potara and the fusion dance tag. And they really haven't. Like, they've set this game up where all the fusion characters are pretty much usable together. Of course, you have, like, the EX Gogeta, who only buffs the fusion dance characters. But for the most part, it stayed pretty broad. And I'd like to wager a guess. Of course, just a gentleman's bet. No money involved. But I think they're going to do something similar for the Tournament of Power also, to keep the tag pretty wide open and to be able to build fan-favorite teams and still be somewhat competitive. It seems like they're not going to restrict it down to where you are forced to build, like, Universe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, 7, It seems like there might be a future in Dragon Ball Legends where the most effective team build has both, MUI Goku on it and Jiren and, whoever else is super ultra relevant at the time. Who knows? But that could very well be a thing if they don't want to make the divisions super specific. So just keep that.
I have to agree. I think they're going to make it broad, like you said, and then make the universe tags like a second buff, like on the Z ability maybe. So to make it obviously extra powerful if you do have both of them.
Yeah, you have your broader builds and then your sub builds.
Yeah, I think that's maybe the way they're going to be going in the future.
Yeah, and they can always do it like they're doing with, for example, Bardock, where you say, okay, if you have a universe, 2 ally on your team, you get an extra buff on your unique, or you want to switch out a switch in buff, stuff like that, so they don't only have to do it on the Z ability. Any other thoughts on this, Brad?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to really touch on. I think we've pretty much exhausted all of it for the most part.
We could go into speculation forever, but,
I mean, I think just to close things out, I would recommend for the average player, this is 100% an easy skip banner. Like I said earlier, the step up is where you want to be spending your crystals because of the value that it has. The discount step ups, or the discount steps, the free step, the double rate step, the EX step. There's just much more value to be had on that banner. Even though I think you could make the argument that the featured units on this Legends All-Star banner are probably better. You're just going to get more for the crystals that you spend on the step up.
Well, and they're definitely going to come back.
Yeah, that's
if we get like a Jiren or something, 100% they're going to come back.
Yeah, you just imagine there's like a Jiren MUI Goku step up banner. These 3 wolves are going to be in the semi-featured pool. Like, there's no way they're not going to bring them back. And then most budget players could probably pick them up for the first time then when they're trying to build that team. They'll be lower stars, but, whatever. You get them then. Save money now.
Fair enough. And good final words. So with that, let's move on to the next one, which is the Extreme Nappa Zenkai. Brad, have you farmed him?
Yeah, I got him up to Z3. And, I mean, he's good. But I was trying him last night, and, like, Professor can attest to this because he was watching me roasting me while I was doing that. And they don't do anything super special. He's definitely good. I would say he's the best of the Scouter Saiyans, so to speak, of those 3. I do think he's a little bit better than Raditz. Maybe not at Z3. Raditz Z7 is still better, of course. But he's definitely better than Scouter Vegeta. Scouter Vegeta just does blast damage, and that's it. And he's kind of weird. I do like the things that he has where he can like take a blow up or what is 50% less. He mitigates that damage. It's really cool. And actually we were talking about the Z ability last week where he gives like additional damage to yellow units. I actually saw it a couple times. I used last night after I streamed. I used a little off camera, and I mean, he bodies 18. If you come up against 18, like you got a decent chance of putting the work in against her because of that 18% or whatever percent increase. But the problem with the team is, again, they're nothing special for the meta. At Z7 across the board, they're really good. I would definitely put them in, top 10. I don't think they're any better than that. Maybe top 10. It kind of depends. There's a lot of teams nowadays that are viable. He's good. Farm him up, but don't push for him right now. Like, don't do what I do and use all of your energy every single day to get him up to Z3. It's not really worth it if you have better options for teams. I definitely recommend Z7ing him for sure. Like, it's a free unit at Z7. Do it. But don't push too hard. He's almost better as a buffer for a lot of other EXs like EX Gogeta and stuff like that. He's really good for that.
So I got him to Z7, and it's kind of funny. I like the unit. He's super one-dimensional. I mean, his blast attack basically doesn't exist, but I think, as a free unit, if you really need a red unit for Frieza Force or for Saiyans, he's not bad at all. I like him. I found he absolutely melts yellow units. I think it's very easy for him to get cards and to ramp up his damage, so I like him overall. I think as a free character, he's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I like him quite a bit.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I'm really happy with what they're doing in terms of like providing the option. The only thing, though, I wish that these extreme units had less cost to Zenkai. I wish, and what I mean is like for the souls. I think that would have been a good thing for them to do, just because part of the pain of getting a unit to Zenkai 7 is not just the energy and skip tickets, it's the soul cost too. So I think like if you're gonna I think it would be great if they found a way just to make it a little bit less, like very heavy investment. You know what I mean? Because this is like he wouldn't. Nappa would obviously not be your first choice if you had to put a red Saiyan or red Frieza Force unit, but I mean, the cost is so significant to make him decent that I don't know. For so much cost for a unit that wouldn't be your first choice is kind of I don't know. It would be great if his cost was less, but overall as a unit for free, Zenkai 7, he's great. I think
if we compare him to like old Red Vegito, I agree with that, because like when Red Vegito came out, all I gotta do is farm his event. Yeah, it was kind of pain in the butt back then to do it, but like you got a unit that gave you 40% to both of your defenses on a team that was pretty good at that time. So I agree with you. Like, you start looking at Zenkais and like, yeah, they've definitely made it better, but there's always room for improvement, and we can't really complain about a free unit. We can. It's not going to get us anywhere because it's free. At the end of the day, you don't have to get him. If you're not using that tag at all, get him to Z3 and just chillax a little bit. Next time he comes back, get him to Z5. The next time he comes back after that, get him to Z7. Just don't rush about it. If you're never really going to use him, use him. Also, you like to do everything in the game, but
you got to keep in mind also that one of the reasons why he destroys yellow units is because of his Z ability.
Yeah.
I think it's like 18% extra damage to yellow units or something.
Mm-hmm. But like, I touched on that, bro.
Yeah, I think that Z ability is really bad, like really bad. But specifically against yellow units, it's like insane. So it's
if he had lock-in, I think he'd be ridiculous. If he gave even 3 seconds like EX Broly, like 3 counts or whatever, if he had that kind of lock-in against a yellow unit, he could do some work. But people are just going to swap out. That's the issue.
Like, I was even thinking, what if they buffed that? Like, what if this is the first unit where they actually go in and change the Z ability? Because like that's like the most fodder Z ability ever, probably.
Yeah, like
really
in a very specialized matchups, yeah, it can help you out. But think about what you're sacrificing having to have that on the table instead of like
exactly
plus 50% to attack and defense or something. It's
holy crap! What unit are you talking about? 50% attack and defense.
All these
God.
EX
like EX Broly and stuff.
Yeah, the EXs will do that.
Yeah, if you have like EX Broly or EX Android
Red 13,
or no Android 14, whatever. When you get them started up, they'll do double stat buffs for 2 different colors and stuff.
I think Boo, the EX Blue Boo, does 50% to both defenses.
Yep.
2 different colors. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and that's just like think about that compared to this. Like that stuff like that is what you might have to sacrifice to bring this Nappa, as opposed to round out your bench a little bit more. I don't know. Again, for like the LBR, only extreme like setups, this is going to be a godsend having this Raditz and this Nappa. But outside of that, if you have any type of better options, you'll likely never run this team unless you're just joshing around with your friends.
All right. So the next topic we have is the cooler event returning. And with that, we also get another 1,000 Chronos. Joe, you farmed that already, or you're still in the process?
Yeah, I've done the event already. It's with the level 50 events. It's nice that they revamp and bring them back again, because obviously it's free crystals. Who's going to complain? But then it's the discussion of how repetitive is these level 50 events, and grinding your way through when you can basically auto most of it. Because obviously it gets difficult after 45 maybe. But I just was trying to think of different ideas, what they could do to make it more interesting or different. So like maybe shorten it and to make it harder, or get to level 50 and do like a boss battle with people with like co-op sort of thing. So I'm just trying to think of different ideas they can switch things up with these 50 events. Just wondering what you guys think as well.
I agree, and I've even come up with ideas. Like, all the ideas I come up with are counterintuitive to what this event is designed to do. Like, this event is literally designed to waste your time so that you spend more time in the game having to struggle through this and just kind of look at the screen more. But I would love it if, like, say you have the title from beating the previous events, like stage 51, right? Like, because sometimes they would give away special titles for that. Like, what if just having that allowed you to, like, skip to stage 25 and start from there? Like, even something as simple as that, I think, would be, I don't know, it would make it a lot less annoying. Like, they just gave you, like, some type of ticket that cleared all the stages automatically. You get the rewards, and you can just start ahead. Because that's the worst part about it. Like, you know, the final stages, sometimes they can be challenging. You know, they can actually be a little bit fun if you get into a groove and you just want to beat up on the AI and you manage to float step and try and like perfect the AI on a super hard difficulty. Okay, that could be a little bit fun, but for like long-time players, the worst part is just playing through like stages 1 through 40, because like you said, it's the most boring, repetitive thing ever.
Yeah, definitely. For new players, it's great. It's 1,000 crystals, I guess. But for the guys who've been playing much longer, it's just too easy and just repetitive. Like you said, a great idea would just be to skip to like level 30, for example, if you have completed it before. Just save time for the player, because obviously you're going to get to 30 easily because you've done it before and it's time has passed since then. So I'm just thinking of different ways they can look into sort of switching it up a bit, maybe shorten it and make it a bit harder. I'm not really sure. There's loads of other options you can think of.
Yeah,
I'd rather do the full power Frieza fight in its original form once than go through an entire 51 fight. If they just put one wicked hard fight for you to have to spend a couple hours to figure out, I think that would be way more entertaining and way more gripping than watching my phone on auto combat for battle 1 through 45.
yeah. Imagine
with
stuff like
the energy being 1 though, because I think that event cost like how much energy? It was like 4 or 5 per run at that stage.
I
That
don't
was
know.
terrible. If it would be great if they're gonna do that. Please make the energy 1. Don't make it 4 or 5, because people having to keep making runs at this, end up using hundreds of energy. Crazy.
Yeah, it stacks up near the end, doesn't it?
even a cool idea, just going off what both of y'all just said and my previous idea, what, like, because I compare it back to, like, imagine like a role-playing game like Chrono Trigger, just for example. In that game, you didn't have, or even like a newer one, like Breath of the Wild. Like, there are players that, it gives you the freedom to just go fight the boss of the game as soon as you load into the game. Like, you could just skip the entire game and be like, no, I'm going to go try and fight.
Maserachi just dropped for a second.
Yeah, I saw that. I
you
saw
cut
the
out.
connection go weep. You can all
So
you can
just
hear
repeat.
You can still hear me, right?
Just repeat what you said earlier.
Okay, so like imagine like a game like the Breath of the Wild or something. Like in those games, you can just start the game and skip right to the final boss without playing. Like you want to go fight Ganondorf with 3 hearts, you can do it. So what if they offered an option, like say the stage costs 50 energy if you lose, but you can skip right to stage 50 or 51 and challenge it straight out the gate. And that, if you win, there's no penalty. But if you lose, maybe it costs you like 50 energy. So, there's kind of that, maybe I should just play through all the 50 stages and be safe. But otherwise, I can make a gamble and just try and skip everything and do the hardest boss battle straight out the gate or something like that. I feel like, that could be a cool idea, something like that too.
I mean, yeah, we're not all Goresh though, so I don't know if I don't think I'd take that challenge. Like that 51, man. it's not ridiculous, but it's just like the kind of not fun. Like they just perfect vanish you and stuff like that, and it's like nice. You could float step it for sure, but
The only issue with that event was if you did not have an LF Namek Goku, it was close to impossible. So if they at least broaden the kind of boost units for it, so it's at least more possible, then okay. Because the lengths we had to go to actually beating the original Frieza event without Namek Goku was absurd. Absolutely absurd.
that's when you got your start though, right? By using Gogeta to beat it.
Yeah, I used Bardock, Gogeta, and the future Gohan to take away the buffs from Frieza.
Yeah, and I tried that and got body bagged like 50 times.
Yeah, it was a bit
easy
of a thing.
It's tough, dude.
You could skirt by using the movie's transforming Blue Vegeta, I think, at the time too, but it still was very difficult.
Yep.
Think of all the revamps coming that they're going to most likely look into it very soon. There has been a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't necessarily think they're putting out these duplicate events necessarily because they want to. I think they are just kind of wasting time. Like,
Fill the gaps.
yeah. Like, because there's no... Why would they want... Other than farming the equipment that they recently added for the Legends Limited Frieza, there's literally no reason to bring these events back. Like, they could just make new ones, but they're just filling time. And, I don't know. Whatever. Okay.
Speaking of which, thanks for the smooth transition. We're going to move over to the next topic. Goresh, how happy are you with that Frieza Platinum equip that he finally got?
Yeah, so that one, they pretty much did exactly what I would have wanted them to do with it because usually when I use the LF Frieza, he doesn't necessarily technically have the best offense. And usually what I end up doing is I end up using a full defensive setup for him in terms of equipment. I usually just go health and then both strike and blast defense as much as I can for him because he actually gets, I think it's 35% damage reduction once he switches out for the first time. So he's actually quite tanky, more tanky than people realize. So if you're able to stack, multiple defenses, health buffs on top of that, he's like, he can tank a Rising Rush and live like at that point. So the fact that they gave him and he doesn't do the most damage ever, which is not really what he's meant to do anyway. But where he does do a lot of damage is his ultimate. So the fact that they gave him the ultimate buff really helps him a lot because like that again, like I just said, that's where he's going to be doing the most of his damage. And then the other place where he does a decent amount of damage is the blue card because the blue card he holds one. So he's going to be using more blue cards. If you increase the damage of the card, he's going to be using more often. That's going to have just a more greater of an impact on the fight. So I really think they did a really good job with designing this equip, and that's it. I mean, he's just a really well designed equip. I think it's much better designed than LF Piccolo's equip because it's actually usable.
Yeah, this is easily the best equip for what he needed. Like he was just squishy. That was it. But they didn't really need to like as his role being a support unit, one of the best. The key recovery, the damage, the blue card, perfect. They didn't need to give him anything beyond that and address his one issue, which was squishiness. So with this, like you said, he can tank. I've seen him tank a full combo from Vegeta Blue. Before, he would just get folded like wet newspaper. He'd be done. But now he can tank very, very well. So this is perfect for him. I find it kind of funny how it's almost... I don't know if... It's just weird how they sometimes design these platinum equips because Frieza is just so perfect for him. This is exactly what he needed. And then it's like... I don't know. You see some of the others like Piccolos, like you said, it's like, okay, so why is this Frieza so overwhelmingly good in terms of his defenses, and then Piccolo's is like, eh.
Yeah, it's like against like damage against like a certain tag. It's like that's fine, but it could be better.
Yeah, it's very odd. I don't know.
Especially since metas will change, and then at one point, this tag might not be very prevalent, so it is kind of a useless slot.
Yeah, this is timeless. This equip is timeless. I still wonder if I don't know if they're still tinkering with Awakening Platinum equips, but I look forward to seeing what they would buff up from here, what they would do next.
Yeah, the reason why I was so hesitant to even like go for high level of these equipments in the past was because we knew that they would eventually get Awakenings, right? And I'm just like, okay, if this is eventually going to get an Awakening, I'm not even going to bother sinking resources into getting good rolls on this right now. But the last Awakened equip we saw was
Well
it
over a year now.
Was it Go? It was Goten, right? Or maybe it
Yeah.
wasn't. I don't remember.
He was the last one.
Yeah, because it was Beerus, then Gohan, then Goten. So I mean, we still haven't gotten Super Vegeta's Awakening equipment yet.
You
Yeah.
think they're kind of
And,
afraid
it's been
to
over
do
a
it?
year. I just think there's no point in doing it. Like, this equip is already really good, right? All the platinum equips we've gotten pretty much are really good for the character that it's designed for. So like the Super Saiyan 3 Goku's equip is like literally the best equip in the game. So are they then going to also awaken that or what? So I don't know. I feel like at this point there's no point in just awakening it for the sake of awakening it. They would have to do it because the unit needs the awakening. But then my counter to that would be, why wouldn't they just design the initial equip to be good enough for the unit, right?
The only counter I would have to that is to get you back on something they've already released, farming and spending money or resources on it all over again without them having to actually develop something significantly new.
Yeah, I don't like you said, I would not look forward to having to re-roll and awaken platinum equips. It's bad enough. The super soul cost, ugh,
Well, the whole
it's so
system's-
brutal.
Oh, it's killing me.
It is brutal.
Yeah, the whole system is. I don't like the equipment awakening system. Period. Like, let alone
Yes, the worst
platinum
system in the
equips. I don't even like equipment
Yeah, it's
rerolling and awakening bronze or silvers. Like, yeah, no, it's terrible.
One thing that would make it easier, though, the big issue is when you awaken equipment, your first slot you have no way of changing. So if it's crap, then well, you got a bad hand. You got a doo-doo equip now, and now you got to restart. But if they let you be able to re-roll that first slot, then I wouldn't mind it as much. I would not mind it as much. You just got to awaken one. And now with rush medals serving more purposes than just awakening equips, it would be great if they sort of, I don't know, but it took some of the cost away from rush medals onto equips, kind of, divided them up a little bit.
Yeah, and then I think, because I've been saying this forever, but my biggest issue with equipment awakening is the fact that since it's tied to rush medals, you're only allowed a finite number of attempts to roll them because you have a finite number of rush medals. You're not going to be able to farm infinite rush medals. So every season you get 70 something thousand rush medals. This season I was really gunning for a good roll on that Kaba awakened equip for the Tree of Danger units. So I'm like, okay, I spent all my rush medals and I didn't get a single good roll, and now I'm just sitting here because I can't farm more. So it's basically all RNG at that point, because if you can't farm infinite amounts of it, then no matter what you do, you're just limited to however many rush medals you get, which is a terribly designed system.
It kind of sounds like you should get better at it.
Oh yeah.
It's like I haven't awakened a single equip for I don't know how long.
Yeah, I largely ignore the system. Like, yes,
Same.
some of them are significantly better than others, but it's just at the end of the day, you can still overcome any battle where an extra 15% to one stat or another wouldn't have made or break the experience. Yes, they do help, but it's not oh, this person's got this equipped, so I've automatically lost, or oh, this person doesn't have the all Z's or even that many S's even. Those people can still pose a significant threat, and you can still lose to them. So since it's not a super critical feature of the game, I've largely ignored it. The awakenings, anyway. I've tried to get as many good base equips as possible, but forget the awakenings.
All right, I think we're getting a little bit off track. So, anything else to say about the Frieza equip itself? If not, I would move on.
No, I think we're good.
Okay, so we have one more topic, and that is obviously one of the most anticipated ones every month, and that is the new V-Jump scans. So we got scans of a Big Bang Super Saiyan Vegeta with Goku Assist and Metal Cooler. So Goresh, but before we go on, first, thanks to Miguel, who supplied us with this screenshot. And make sure to check out the description for his YouTube channel and his Twitter. And now I'm going to ask again, Goresh, how happy are you that we're going to get LOE finally?
Oh my god. So yeah, I feel like I said this a million times, but basically, if you don't count LF Frieza, this is the first new LF unit we're getting since Purple Cooler and Red Frieza a year ago. So it's literally been an entire year since we've gotten a new LOE unit. So this is a big deal. And not only is this a new LOE unit, but it's also a new movies unit, right? the new regen unit. So Metal Cooler actually fills in a lot of gaps for teams, I feel like, that really needed the help, like movies. I'm not saying regen needed the help, but movies definitely needed it. LOE definitely needed it. And although there's some parts of the scan that are still really hard to see or look at just because some parts are just like there's glare or whatever, I took some notes on some of the stuff that it's talking about here. So let me just quickly go through some of this stuff. So first things first, it does not say whether or not this banner is going to be a Legends Rising or a Legends All-Stars, but it's probably going to be Legends All-Stars just based off of the fact that the past 2 V-Jump skins we've gotten for Goten and Trunks and then for the Treated Dangerous, those have both been Legends All-Stars. So it's probably like the new age, quote-unquote, UST banner where they're always in V-Jump. So that's what I think for that. And then there's no release date mentioned. But probably like a month from now is probably a safe bet. And then for Vegeta, so obviously there's a Vegeta and a Metal Cooler. So Vegeta, he is looks like he's going to be a defense type just based off of the stat spread, like the little pentagon.
Little pie
there.
chart thing, yeah.
Yeah. Seems like he gets a massive boost if you have 2 or fewer battle members. So kind of like a last stand type of ability. It looks like he has increased defenses on cover change and a strong ultimate arts card. And in that ultimate arts card, it looks like Goku's going to jump in and help you do an attack. I don't know. It doesn't really say or specify if this card is going to be an assist unit or not. Because Goku is in the ultimate arts card, but we've also seen units like Bergamo, who just came out, where even if you're not using the other Treated Danger units, Lavender and Basil still show up in the ultimate. So it might just be one of those where he's just in the animation. He's not technically an assist unit. His special move is the Big Bang attack, and to me, this looks like a very obvious unit that they designed to go along with the newly released Zenkai Super Saiyan Bardock. So that's what I'm going to be using with him. And that's pretty much all we have for Vegeta. And then for Metal Cooler, it seems like he's going to be a powerful attacker with the ability to restore his health, because that's what it says in the top right there. It just mentions regeneration capabilities, and usually when it does that, it's typically like, oh yeah, he restores like health over time, like one of those abilities. And then right from the beginning of the fight, he'll have very high damage potential, which is interesting because that sort of reminds me of Green Golden Frieza. His ultimate is the Metallic Supernova, which is it's gonna like dash forward and do something and then end with that. And then it doesn't actually say what his special move is, so we don't know what that one is yet. But that's pretty much all I was able to decipher from this scan here. So I'm excited because finally, a new LOE unit. Metal Cooler is one of my favorite units. Maybe one of my favorite characters. So hopefully he's good. And in terms of what I would want him to do for LOE, because it's interesting, most of LOE is very defensive. Like Full Power Frieza, LF Frieza is actually very defensive as well. And then the Zenkai Cooler, just being a Zenkai unit, is pretty defensive. So this guy seems like he's going to be more of an offensively based character, which is interesting. So it'll add some more depth to the team, I think. And me personally, I've always been an advocate of LOE getting more units instead of Zenkais because there's just very few options that the team has right now. So this is good.
Now, to jump off of that real quick, I don't know if this scan confirms or denies or even mentions it, but I heard, and I don't know again how reliable this is, but I heard that he's primarily a movies buffer and then has a new tag of Metal Warrior.
No, I don't see that anywhere. Maybe it does because I can't see all of it, but I don't see that on here.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Like, and then again, take this with a grain of salt, but I heard that he's going to be more like streamlined into the movies team, like the green first form cooler, that really, really old one. He's movies old. He has the LOE tag, but he does nothing for the tag. He's all movies, and I heard that that's what they're doing with this cooler as well. But I don't know if that's true or not.
Wasn't it around this time last year we got Bojack and Gohan? Was that this time last year?
It was like a month. It was like
and we just got the Saiyaman 1 and 2, which is movies. So that seems.
I mean,
like
I could totally see it being that similar type of banner where both units are ridiculous for movies, but they also fit on other teams.
This is literally a year after we got the purple cooler and red Frieza.
But then also, it is Metal Cooler. He has all those little tendrils. He's got the duplicating versions of himself. So if he does not have that new cell Endurance 2.0, which he should have this character deserves it just as much as any other regenerating character in the show because of how many coolers there are. So he deserves that. But if he doesn't have that, he's gonna, like Gresh said, he's gonna have some type of heal, which shoehorns him into the regeneration team as well. So there might be a world where this cooler is on LOE but doesn't buff it, and he buffs movies and regen. I don't know. Like, that would be kind of disappointing because I would like LOE to get a buff as well. But those are just some of the rumors that I heard. Again, limited credibility.
I can't see them not buffing LOE with him. LOE needs it. Don't get me wrong. I want the Metal Warriors because, bro, we're gonna get Metal Rildo, and he's gonna take it back. Let me tell you what. But I can't see them not doing that because, like, LOE needs it big time, and LOE is a very important tag in all of Dragon Ball. I mean, Frieza's Frieza, but that's just cooler is cooler. Like, that's just how it is. That'd be shocking to me if they did movies and regen. It wouldn't. I guess it wouldn't shock me. But it would kind of irritate me a lot.
With the green one, it's possible.
Yeah, but the green one's so old at this point, and like Resh was saying, we haven't gotten a new LOE unit in a hot minute. Like, we're talking like almost a year since we've gotten like a new one that's on a Zenkai.
The only reason why I was inclined to believe it is because the devs do somewhat actually stick somewhat like reliably to canon. And I know the other coolers don't actually have any interaction with, the rest of their family in the LOE situation, nor does Chilled. But this one especially, like, I don't know if they'll do it or not because he just takes on everybody by himself and is off in his own little world somewhere. I don't really know. That's just pure speculation.
Are you trash talking the goat Chilled, bro? He is the best LOE character.
I hate Chilled. He looks like a little jelly bean with horns.
I used to like him before I started playing Legends, man. Go ahead.
So, Joe, what do you think about that?
To Vegeta and Goku, I'm just really interested to see what they will do with how they interact. So, like the green card and the special card is how they're normally using the assist sort of side of things. I'm just wondering if they're going to do anything different, whether he's going to be in a combo or something like that. I'd see something a bit different because the past couple of times it's generally been the green and the special card where they've sort of done the assist animations. Or maybe in the future they're going to look at something like a duo where there's two characters on the screen, but not sure if it can handle that yet, or it might be something for the future. But I'll just be interested to see how the assist sort of works with this Vegeta and Goku unit, to be honest.
I got my hopes up for that too, and then everyone on Twitter like poo-pooed on my excitement and said that he's probably just going to be like LF Piccolo, where Goku is just a feature of the Ultimate Arts animation.
Yeah.
Is otherwise not included at all. Like, he's in the card art in the background, but a lot of the assist units will feature both of the units in the foreground, and Goku's not featured that way. So now I'm starting to get sad, and I think he's just going to be like a LF Piccolo, or what's the other character that does that too? He has a animation where someone else comes in. I think there's one other one that has a similar thing.
Well, it's Bergamo, right?
Yeah.
But
I don't know of anybody else besides Bergamo and Piccolo.
Oh yeah, maybe it was Bergamo. You're the one that tweeted that at me. Yep.
Yeah.
So
but just
it might just be
on
like that and not an assist unit. So I'm sad about that because Goku and Vegeta Super Saiyan 1, they deserve a combo unit. Like, they should have started those assists, and I don't want to deviate too much, but they should have started those characters really, really strong. I mean, the Broly Chilai, that was arguably a fair start, but then after that, going straight into Saiyaman 1 and 2, kind of a letdown when they could have done a Goku Vegeta or something to really add hype to this type of card.
Yeah, I thought they'll definitely improve on it since that one, and I'm hoping they sort of do something a bit different with the assists. So maybe like in the combo, he can come in for like the last punch or something like that, or something a bit different.
Maybe they're just waiting for the next level of phones to be the norm before they start like trying to push the game that hard or something, and they're just stalling.
Yeah.
That's something.
I'm guessing there will be like duo units in the future where.
Yeah, I mean they can kind of already display that type of stuff when you're playing co-op, so I don't see why they couldn't display
punching at the same time. Like I don't know, it would look funky. I feel like
it would work.
I just want them to do where like one of them is a striking unit. You use a strike card, that character's there. When you use a blast card, that character's there. One of them gets the super, one of them gets the green card. That's kind of how I want. And the main gets like an ultimate or whatever else, or they both get the ultimate. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, definitely, because you want to see both of the characters like equally.
Yeah.
Right, Raiden, I think you were you were trying to say something for a while.
No, I was just gonna say like it probably only makes the most sense for it to be in the ultimate. Otherwise, we know that the assist units now share their tags, so we Vegeta with on the Sun family tag, it'd just be too weird. So they're probably just gonna stash him away in the ultimate.
I don't know. I get what you're saying too, but that would totally take away what they just changed with Broly and Chile being on females, even though it's mainly Broly with Chile.
I'm making my assessment based off the card art alone. Like with
Let's
all
say if
those,
there's gonna be there's gonna be a unit or a character that breaks that rule, it's gonna be like Goku or Vegeta. Like they're gonna break that rule. I
I
feel
think
like.
if that unit comes out, they probably won't have Sun family or Vegeta family tags at all, or something like that. Like they'll just be meant for Saiyans or fusions if it's like a Gogeta transforming duo unit or whatever. I don't think they'll be meant for their individual family teams. And then again, the last little point that I wanted to make about the V Jump scan is I would bet 99% of any money that I would wager that it's not going to be an assist unit solely based off the card art not featuring them both prominently in the foreground. Like, just be based off that alone. Because, like, again, Broly Chilai had both Broly and Chilai right in the front. And then Sandman 1 and 2, they're standing side by side. This one is just Vegeta by himself doing a Big Bang attack. And kind of Goku's in the backdrop. So, just based off that alone, I don't think this is going to be one of the assist units.
I mean, I'm really okay if it's not. Honestly, if he just pops up in the ultimate, it's all right. But it would be there's cooler incarnations of Goku and Vegeta to get as an actual assist unit. So I'll give you guys that one. There's definitely cooler ones. The cooler movie's cool, but there's better ones you could definitely do for sure.
I feel like they're gonna do this animation justice. Like they did the Goku from this movie. His blue card looks really clean. This Ultimate Arts is probably gonna be on the same level of the green movie's Spirit Bomb absorbed Goku from Punching Android 13. Like that is one of the cleanest non-LF Ultimate Arts animations in the game. So I feel like that's where they're gonna splurge with this particular card, and the Ultimate Arts is gonna look really, really clean. But it's probably not going to be a Legends Limited. It's probably not going to be an assist unit.
All right. So before we move on to the break, I think Goresh, you wanted to quickly say something.
Yeah, so again, the only reason why we were able to get this scan so early is thanks to Miguel. So again, we're going to have his YouTube link as well as Twitter in the description below, so make sure to check him out. He always has the V-Jump scans ahead of time, so if you're interested in that, having advanced knowledge, please check him out.
Yep, I'm actually editing that on the fly right now.
Okay, and we also got a donation from Dazed and Confused saying Trio to Dangers almost makes me want to play this game again. Almost. Love the podcast, guys. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Dazed. We appreciate it. And yeah, glad you're enjoying it. With that, we're going to... We're going to take a quick break, which is a good time for you to check out the descriptions, follow all our content creators. Make sure to check out our Discord, our Twitch, our Twitter, our Facebook page that is pretty new still. And yeah, with that, we will be right back.
We're back. Take the floor, Palm.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Here we are. Now we're going to start off with the Twitter questions. And again, if you want your question in the podcast, then make sure to be on the lookout on our Twitter for the questions thread that is posted every Friday. And with that, we're going to move on to the first question. It's from Vlucius, and he asks, if Legends introduces a new type of event for PvE, what would you want to see as a new type of event? Joe, what do you think?
I spent some time looking at this, and I thought of a really interesting event where a unit who can transform or fuse or do something like that, where they bring like a free-to-play unit out or a summonable one, and it's basically an event where you have to fight the rival of that person, or say it's GT Goku, the kid one, beat all the Shadow Dragons, and you unlock his Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan 4, just beating that event, and then you can start using him obviously in PvP while he's transformed. So I was thinking of something different where reward is the transformation of that character or the fusion of that character. That's what I will sort of want to look into.
That's actually a pretty good idea.
I don't know if you guys agree, just a bit different.
I want them to do more like what they did for the second anniversary when they teased Trunks and I guess that was Zamasu or the other unit they let us play as.
Super Saiyan 4 Goku.
Oh, it's Goku. Yeah, Goku and Trunks. Yeah, I want to see more events where they tease the new Primo unit by letting you play as them.
I agree. That was fun. Like, they could do raid events. Like, I think those are really well received. But in those raid events, they should let us use new units that, maybe someone didn't pull. Like, what if they had a new raid event where it was like versus Ultimate Gohan? And you could use any of the three dogs in that one. You could choose which one you wanted to use, and then you would be fighting with another one, the other that your partner chose.
Or what about they make raid exclusive characters just for funsies?
Well, that would take a lot of effort. I don't know if they were willing to do that.
I mean, they've had units with the Ultra Space Time Rush that had unique kits, right? They could easily just move the kits around or make them more intense or change your deck to only be, blast and blue cards.
The only unique unit that I can think of was the Gogeta. Like the I forget, this is a long time ago. This is 2 years ago almost. With that Gogeta that had that special move that we never saw actually implemented for a usable character. You guys know what I'm talking about? I think it was the
Yeah, why don't they ever release that? That was a cool move.
Yeah.
I thought for sure that was going to come kind of like the Red Vegeta came as a free-to-play unit.
I don't even remember.
It was the Broly event, right? When you got to the end, he's one of the challenge battles.
Yeah, it was the base form Gogeta that transformed into Super Saiyan.
But he had the attack where he kind of looks like he's, dashing to the side and throwing little blue orbs at you. And he had that as his blue card.
Yeah, that's a Gogeta that's still at this point been computer controlled only, and we've never seen him since that event.
All right, any other?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, I didn't mean to cut you off, Palm, but just with my answer, if we're gonna go full what if here, and I'm gonna go way outside the box, and I want a auto chess or a Hearthstone style PvE mode. Like I said, we're going full what if. I want something that's really different. Like you bring a bunch of units, you set them up on the board, and it's much more strategic. Maybe the battles are completely not controlled by the player. Things play out very similar to Dota Auto Chess or Dota Underlords, something like that. Or Hearthstone Battlegrounds, something like that. I think that would be really neat. Because they refuse to make a game like that when it would make them such a stupid amount of money if they just made a digital version of the TCG game or something like that.
You need something similar to the Xenoverse, could the little card, the game they have on that game.
Yeah, so anything like that. I mean, it would freshen things up and just, I don't know. Again, that's mostly me speaking because I've wanted that type of Dragon Ball game for so long, and I don't know. That's what I would want though, for sure.
All right, so the next question is coming from It's Shaft Time, and the question is if you guys could remake a unit that you guys think is bad, which unit would you guys select?
I'd give Yellow Gohan a kit.
Talking about the Kid Gohan?
Oh yeah, the old Kid Gohan.
Wait, he's really good though.
I don't know. I think he has probably the most vanilla kit I can think of out of any unit in the entire game.
I mean, he
He
was
was
on
act-
the
he was
first
act-
banner, so
Yeah,
like,
he was on the Frieza banner. He was actually pretty good back then. Like he did a lot of strike damage.
he was,
Even
like,
though he has
second
2
banner.
blasts. Remember, he has like 2 blast blast cards, and he uses like.
Yeah, he was one of those units that nerfed himself to try to
Yeah.
keep him in line.
Doesn't he work with Piccolo or something?
If you have a dead Piccolo or 2 alive allies, you get a damage buff.
See,
Anywhere
bro,
in
that's
between, you're
perfectly
kinda sitting there.
fine. You need nothing else. You just bring green Piccolo, you kill him off, and now Gohan's a monster. That's
Oh
it.
no, yellow Frieza, green Piccolo, and yellow Gohan was my OG team.
Ooh, that's a heck of a team, man.
That's mine as well.
Like,
Miss those days.
So what other units would you change?
I know Brad's choice. Did he say it already? It's the blue Spirit Bomb Goku that's in the shop.
yeah, no, he's 100% like, I'm really hoping that they're smart about it and makes him like I know a lot of people are like 500 days, but if they make him the 1,000 day and they give him a Zenkai at that point, oh my, I would be over the moon, dog.
And
He is such an important character in all of Dragon Ball, and he was the first unit I ever got like fully soul boosted, and he has been doo-doo ever since. Like, straight up terrible. So like, if they did that for him, anything, just give him a normal Zenkai, I don't care, but 1,000 days you just get him free Zenkai, ooh, I'd love it.
I don't know. I know Ryuden's answer, but it's a trick because the tweet is worded wrong. Because Super Saiyan 3 Goku is not bad, but if he could remake Super Saiyan 3 Goku and make him better, that's who he would pick.
Actually, it wouldn't be the LF. It'd actually be the red one. When he came out, nobody really used him. His Z ability wasn't good. He's just kind of meh all the way around. He had a really limited window to being good. I figured he was just poorly designed, in my opinion. So he would be the guy that I would switch up. Give him a Saiyan buffer, rework his kit a little bit. That's my choice.
That makes sense.
Goresh, what about you? Which LOE character would you remake?
Yeah, I would probably remake the yellow Frieza, the Final Form one, because Final Form Frieza is just my favorite form of Frieza, and I feel like he's sort of in the same boat that Gohan, the one the professor just was talking about, where he doesn't even buff, because he came out before LOE was even a tag in the game, because LOE the tag came out with Chilled, who was obviously way after that Frieza came out. So the biggest issue I have with that Frieza is he just buffs yellow, which is like, okay. And obviously right now you can't use more than one yellow unit on your team, or you're just going to get steamrolled by Gohan. So I think for me, the biggest thing that I would do to change him, and I don't know if they would do this because they've never done it before ever, which is changes the ability to, Frieza Force or Lineage or whatever they want to do. But I feel like if they gave that guy Zenkai, he could be very good. So, but I think, again, they're not going to change the ability, but that's what I would do.
My answer is kind of in the same spirit as Goresh. I want to go back and alter the yellow hit so that he actually has a functional team that he can be used on, because he's already always been teetering on godly status just based off his crit damage, but with no super effective team to put him on, it's always been a struggle finding when and where to properly use him. So I go back and I just
because he's about to get a tag, Rival Universe, right?
Right. But that hasn't happened yet. So in the
Yeah,
meantime, I would remake him. Also, maybe give him a little bit more defense because he dies, especially in this meta. He literally will die in 2 cards.
Wrong combo.
Which,
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, hit is an assassin, and assassins aren't supposed to get hit. But dying that quickly is not super great.
Joe, what about you?
Yeah, I have to agree with Raiden. The Super Saiyan 3 Goku, I used him quite a lot. He's okay early game with his blast damage. If they had to look at him and maybe make him a bit more of a late game unit as well and increase his blast damage, then definitely okay. I used him a few times and his blast damage was good at the start of the game, but then it just drops off drastically.
It'd just be good if it's just any of those units that have already an established tag, but for some reason they gave him a type buffer. It'd be great if we tinkered those. Saiyan team was already good at the time where he came out, so I found it very odd that they just made him mono red. I was like, what on earth? Why would you do?
I didn't like that.
It didn't make any sense. So if I had to change anything, immediately be the Z ability. Just change that, and he's miles better already.
It seems like in that earlier time, they were toying with the idea of establishing the game metas involving color builds. That was much more of a priority to them. And even though we still see it occasionally from time to time now, like we saw it on the Trio to Danger as like a secondary thing they did, we see it a lot on EX units. I don't really think that even the developers, it seemed like, don't think that color-based team building alone is like a viable option for this game. Like it's always going to be like tags, teams, eras, races, species, whatever, what have you. Like they've just kind of given up on having color options be like a forefront top of the meta like option for now anyway.
Yeah. Okay, my last
All right.
point on this topic is for
Yeah, go.
color stuff, I feel like they think of it as a premium option because all of those EX units are specifically designed to buff those colored, coordinated teams where it's blue or purple, if it's red or green, or purple or red, and stuff like that. The only units that are like specifically designed to buff those types of teams are all EX units, which are incredibly hard to pull. So I think the way that they've philosophized those teams are just that they're just very premium.
Yeah. So to round it out, my take would be the green Ginyu, and I just pulled up his kit, and it's terrible. So his main ability only draws the body change card, and he has like very very like every of his unique is just one sentence. And I wish that his green card that he carries would be just much more useful than just the 20% downgrade to, what does it say? Blast damage received for 30 counts for the opponent. So yeah, remake the green Ginyu and just make his green card useful, his blue card a little bit more beefy, and I don't know, maybe having like a proper ultimate rather than this body change, or make this body change more powerful.
Yeah, like the purple one even that comes with the double lock-in. Even that alone makes it so much more valuable.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so with that, we're going to move on to the next question by Ash AJ. And that question is, and I'm mostly putting it there because it was asked quite a few times, is do you guys think we'll get any new Legends Road units? Gohan was the last one, and even that seems like a good while ago now.
I think Goresh, do you have any more insight on or Raiden?
I can't really say. There's no reason for them not to do it. I'm sure they're in a weird spot because they're kind of. I'm sure they're stuck between, well, do we Zenkai the ones that we got now, or do we introduce new ones? And it's going to be tricky for, not just them, but for the players too, because you got to wonder, like, do you want the ones that we have now to get better and viable for the current meta? And then if they were to release a new one, it's like, how is this one supposed to be as good as the Zenkai ones that came for free? I'm sure there's just a lot of confusion all around what they want to do next with them. I could see it happening, just probably not anytime soon because they're probably stuck wondering where to go with it. I think they're a little conflicted with the tag right now.
Yes, we've seen a lot of the new units that have come with events similarly structured to how the Legends Road events were. Like, they've just been whatever other one-off events, like the female Android 21 or the Kakarot Goku. Like, they've just kind of come out and been themed like that, whereas like they've kind of, like you said, neglected the Legends Road one for a while. So
yeah, I mean,
or they might be making them more scarce. Yeah.
My quick take on this is that all the free units they've released recently have been sort of their own events. Like we have the 21, we have the Kakarot Goku, we have the Young Nappa. They all have their own events, and I feel like that's the direction they want to take free-to-play units in this game moving forward. We haven't had a Rising Battle in forever. We haven't had Legends Road in forever. So I don't know if they want to tie free units continuously to Legends Road or Rising Battles. I think they just want to have them have their own events. But I think in the future, just because Legends Road is a tag that's been established in the game, I think we will get more, but I don't know if it's going to happen soon.
I used to think that Legends Road was not just, a whole free-to-play thing, but I also thought it was meant for, like, those tricky units where obviously they're cool, but you're not really sure if they should be, like, summonable. You know what I mean? Like, that Gohan, that's at the moment where he's training with Goten for the tournament. And it's like, that's such a specific moment. Does it make sense to make it a summonable banner? He's cool. Doesn't make sense to make him summonable. So I think that's what I thought Legends Road was for. So that's why we always said like Mecha Frieza would be cool to put on Legends Road, just because I mean he showed up and died just as quickly as he showed up. So he'd be cool to have, but it doesn't make sense to make him like you have to pay Chrono Crystals for him. So that's why I think he's still there.
Legends Road is sort of like the less hype units. sort of how they sort of release them, I guess.
Yeah, it would be cool, but not like cool, but not cool enough to make him summonable. Like Batman Vegeta. I think everyone keeps bringing up. They'd love to see that, and I agree. It'd be absolutely awesome to see him. I don't think I would dedicate any Chrono Crystals to summoning for him, but he'd be cool to have on Legends Road.
Yeah.
All right, let's
agree
move
with
on to
that.
the next question. The next question is from Chris, and he's asking, the first Zenkai unit of the game is slowly getting power crept now, and the goal of Zenkai units was to bring older units meta or make them meta relevant again. Now, if units like these are getting power crept, what would happen to them next, or what would they do next to make them relevant again?
Well, they're gonna stay power crept for quite a while until they make it full cycle, and then once we get to that point, hopefully by then the development team will have an idea of what they're gonna do next. But yeah, that
Probably.
oh, go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead. Sorry, I thought you were done with your
That's
thought.
kind of the natural progression of power creep. Like at some point, there's certain things just get dated and they kind of age out. I mean, they'll still always be useful in some ways, like PvE events and quirky team builds. Like they're never gonna be completely useless, I would say. But
I think.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think the most important value you're going to get out of your Zenkai units after they've left the main scene on being your first choice picks, so they're going to be bench. You're gonna have a new purple, Saiyan unit that's going to come out, and you're going to throw that Scout or Vegeta on the bottom. Frankly, this is already what it's doing. So,
yeah, I was going to say the same thing. If they're not going to be part of your main lineup, then they'll get shifted over to your bench. And, some of these units have really good Z abilities, and then just the extra cherry on top is now that their Zenkai ability could be buffing up one of your starting lineups. Like the purple Vegeta, perfect. Actually, no, he doesn't have his is just blast attack, but I guess maybe, the good Boo, if for whatever reason, God forbid, that he's completely terrible as a Zenkai 7, if you have a green regen unit, then he'll be the bench guy and he'll buff up that guy. And then after that,
they got a much longer life because of that. Can be on the bench after, so I think they're going to be around for much longer than like a normal unit, for example, because you can just chuck them on the bench and they start getting power crept.
Now, at that point where they're too bad to be on the bench, then I don't. Let's hope I don't get that point. I have no idea what's going to happen there. But...
Well, that's where we're at now. I mean, there's I'd say borderline 50% of the game's not even usable in PvP, maybe 60. And I mean, that's the whole point of Zenkai to begin with, is to bring those back. But I mean, once they get their Zenkai and they fodder off again, I think they're kind of just gone at that point. Like you guys said, bench, and if they're bad enough for the bench, it's we just kind of say goodbye to Scout or Vegeta then at that point. That's just kind of how it's going to be.
Just delete them off the game.
Compare it to other gacha games, even Dokkan, for example. One of the things that people brag about Dokkan is that every single summon's got a guaranteed SSR on it. Well, to get to that point, you have to have so many characters in the game that the pool is just so big. There's so many worthless characters that they can do that, and it's not a financial detriment to their business model. So for that to even happen, it's going to get to a point where units are power crept to the oblivion, where they're, like you said, they're just not really probably ever going to really come back, other than if you use them on a bench or in special events that they cater where certain units are valuable over other ones.
Yeah, 95% of SSRs in Dokkan are doo-doo, and no one uses them.
I mean, they even took some off the banner, right? Like the original...
Yeah,
what was that, the green Frieza and stuff like this?
Yeah.
So those are the retired ones. And I mean, you can even compare that to more traditional card games and stuff, or other digital card-like games where there are seasons, things rotate out, things get put into legacy, and you don't use them or see them anymore. Obviously, Legends isn't going to be that strict where they're going to remove your ability to use them, but there's going to be that invisible wall there of do I want to bring this character in and probably lose, or do I want to just use the newer, better stuff?
Yeah, but I mean, that's just how it's going to be in a game like this.
Yeah, that's just how these games go. And like I said, even bigger, more generic card games follow similar, life cycles on builds and metas and stuff.
All right, let's move on to the next question. And that one is coming from Ultra Recon X10. And the question is very short. It's, could Legends step into Heroes content? And I also put that there because I've heard that a couple of times or saw that a couple of
Yeah,
times.
we've
in the
talked about
question.
this many times, and I think now because Dokkan's about to get their Heroes collab for the year, which generally happens in November. It's definitely possible that we do, but Legends at this point has so much more to explore in just the Dragon Ball world than jumping into essentially what is fanfic, right, for Heroes. So I don't really think they need to yet. It would be cool. Obviously, a lot of people have been asking for it, especially since a lot of parallels are drawn between Dokkan and Legends. If Dokkan's getting something, naturally people are going to be asking for it in Legends as well. So it's fine that people are asking for it, but I don't know how realistic that is right now. Just because again, there's so much they can work with in just the canonical universe for Dragon Ball. And for Legends, it's much more difficult for them to actually create characters in this game as opposed to Dokkan, which is, I think, a reason why Dokkan goes through a lot of the content much quicker. It goes through characters much quicker. There's more options in that game because it's just easier to create content in that game as opposed to Legends, where a lot more work has to go into everything. So it's going to take longer for Legends to cover what they have to cover before they jump into something like Heroes, I think.
Yeah, like the obviously the biggest difference being between 2D sprite animations and 3D models. It's a significant amount of work for them to make new characters, and then there's also the whole you want each one of them to be fresh too, right? So it's definitely much harder for them. So like Goresh said, I could see it happening, but I don't think it would be any time in the near future, considering they have so much unmarked territory. I mean, we just started Tournament of Power. There's probably a lot they got to go through.
Oh yeah, no, there's Legend. When did Dokkan get its first hero units? It was pretty far into the game, wasn't it?
I think it was like right around the 30-year mark or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we still got like another year to even match up to that. So I always kind of use that as like a placement holder as well. Same thing when people are like, "Can we get a free LF, please?" Like, well, I mean, Dokkan had to wait like technically speaking, you got the Prime Battle ones, but I mean like a summonable one. Have they ever gotten a free summonable?
No. What do you mean by free? What do you mean by free?
Well, actually, as I'm saying it, I'm kind of like, well, the Prime Battles do count as that. I always forget about them because now that Goku's good, it kind of invalidates my argument. I take it all back.
I wouldn't, because people equate LFs to LRs, and
it's not the same thing. Yeah,
because LFs are not a higher rarity than sparking, where LRs are. So
that is pretty true.
Yeah,
thought about that.
They're
just a lower
LFs are
rate.
just
That's
more rare sparkings, but they're the same type of car. They're still a sparking.
That is very, very true. Yeah, it's weird. And they have a lower pull rate, and they're not a higher. Doesn't matter.
And then just to reassure everyone in the chat, like to counter, and I'm not countering Gresh, but I'm kind of collaborating with him or corroborating his point. Like, yes, like Dimps is the studio that developed Heroes. They're the studio that developed Xenoverse. They will likely dip into those games because of how and I don't say easy from a programming perspective, because it is, like Gresh said, hard to balance things and create these nice animations and stuff for this game. But they already, like, it's just going into another department in their own office building. Like, they will get there eventually. It's just, like they said, there's no reason to rush it. And when they do finally show up, I would expect, like, the super, like, vanilla characters to come out first. Like, you're not going to get Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta versus Super Saiyan 4 Zeno Goku as, like, the first banner. It's going to be some, like what they did for the GT stuff, where we got Rildo and a Super Saiyan 1 Vegeta in his, like, disco outfit. Like, it's going to start there, and they're going to slowly, like, drip feed out the more hype characters over time. Like, that's how you prolong the lifespan of a game like this. So don't expect the most hype stuff first when they start mentioning Heroes in the first place, I would say.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's everything, though.
All right. So we're going to go straight to the last question by Gacha Talks. And that one is specifically to the homie. What is the difference between a wolf and a dog? And I would like Goresh to answer that one.
It's actually wolves, not wolf. Or wolves. What's the difference? I don't know. Someone else help me.
Look, I gave you. I
essentially.
answered it for you in the outline chat, but to save you from scrolling up, it's the quick and easy answer to that question with no science involved is just saying like 2,000 years worth of human domestication.
So the true danger is wolves or dogs?
They're neither. They're just anthropomorphic canine aliens from another universe.
That's a really
That's
cool
a
way
that's
to
a
word
cop
that.
out. That's a cop out answer. Come on.
Bro, they
Wait.
definitely look. One of
Are
them
we
looks
jumping
like
to conclusions?
I
Are they
would say
not
at
the
least
danger race?
I
know
say
what?
one of them looks like a red
Danger
fox,
race.
and then the other two look like they could be like German shepherds.
All right, man. Well, that was
Okay.
that joke landed really well, so we'll move on from there.
Yep. And moving on means moving out. So that's it for this podcast. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure that you check out the description, follow our creators, and as well as that, join our public Discord to hang out, ask questions, join the community, and everything. Follow 59 Gaming on Twitter to not miss a single update, to also get informed when we upload a video, when we go live on Twitch, and when we post a questions thread as well, so you can get your questions read out in the podcast. Yeah, and with that, I think that's it for today. Make sure that you check out our old episodes of the podcast if you haven't done so. And have a good rest of your day. Stay safe, and we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.
I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend.
Bye, guys.
We'll see you next week.
Appreciate you.
Oh, and we might be going live on Twitch as well later with some Phasmophobia, some Among Us, something like that. So definitely keep eyes on the Twitter. We'll keep you up to date before we go live on Twitter or Twitch with anything. Sorry. Have a good one.